So quick Chazara from Boy Rava on Gimel Base. Boy Rava. So Rava asks a question. Mikra Megillah Meis Mitzvah. If you have the mitzvah of Megillah or Meis Mitzvah, Haiminayu Adif. Which one is more important? Which one is more preferred? Is the Lashon Gemara Adif. Mikra Megillah Adif Mishum Pesum Nisa. A is option one. Mikra Megillah is more important because it's Pesum Nisa. We discussed yesterday. Pesum Nisa is commemorating, publicizing the Nes. Dilma Meis Mitzvah, or B Meis Mitzvah Adif Mishum Kavod Habrius. So maybe mitzvah of Meis Mitzvah is more important because Kavod Habrius. So he asked the question, asked and answered, like they say. He asked the question, then he answered the question. Meis Mitzvah Adif the Amamar. Meis Mitzvah is the more important one because Mar said Godel Habrius is very strong, very big. Because Kavod Habrius could be Doicha Loisase. Gufa, Amr Rabbi Shua ben Levi. So now we're going through different Rabbi Shua ben Levis that are about cities and villages, differences. Some of them are Benegeya to Megillah, as Chaim pointed out yesterday. Some of them are not. But since they all fall into the category of defining the difference between a city and a village, we're learning all of them. Amr Rabbi Shua ben Levi. A city, and all the cities, or all the houses near the city that are seen when you look at the city, are going to the same halacha of that city. The Mishnah says if it's close and not able to be seen when you see the city, or if it's seen with the city but it's not that close. So it's simple to understand if you can see it but it's not close. If the city is on top of the mountain and then there's people living at the bottom of the mountain, they can't see it, but they're very close. I'm saying they're close, but they can't. They're not close, but it could be seen. But close and not seen. What's that case of close and not seen with the city? Yemer says we're talking about a case, for instance, that the city is in the valley, so it's buried down and it's not easily seen. Another Rabbi Shua ben Levi. A city that people lived in, and afterwards the wall came down, is considered just like a village. My taima, what's the reason for this? So this is nothing to do with Megillah. This is the halacha of Batei Yerchaima, which is when somebody sells their house because they need money, and it's a whole. There's a lot of halachas that have to do with this. My taima, the Chsiv. So the pasuk says, a man sells his house in a dwelling which is in a walled city. So it was walled, the wall was built around, and then the houses were built inside. It's not that there was one person living here, one person living here, and then they went and built a wall around it.
Rashi says Beis Moshe Shok Yerchaim, meaning that there was an Yerchaim, that's like the Ikar, and there was houses in that Yerchaim, but first it has to have the wall.
So we're up to, right, that's all Hazar, right?
Yeah.
So Okay, so New Gemara also starts with the Amr Rabbi Shua ben Levi. The Amr Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Kach she'ein bo yasar batlanim, nidin kikvar. So a city that doesn't have 10 batlanim is considered a village. Michael Mashmalan, I think this one is Dafka talking about Mikra Megillah, by the way. This that's her Batlan. Michael Mashmalan. Okay, so basically the way it worked is they had 10 people that would sit around. They didn't just sit around; they learned. So Batlanim doesn't mean that they were just people who like sat around and played video games, right? Batlanim, there were people who didn't work. They were what we would call, I guess, koil yungalef, right? They right. That's how. I mean, that word probably wasn't there. Like they probably didn't have that. But basically, there were people that were always around, just so that they would always have a minion. So a krach, a city that had these 10 batlanim was considered a krach. If they didn't have 10 batlanim, so then basically it meant that they weren't always guaranteed to have a minion. Now, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have like calendars. They had to know you go into this place and there's always a minion there.
They didn't have a Kedushas Levi WhatsApp chat for Shachas.
They didn't have a WhatsApp chat, that's for sure. With a Vector chat, right?
It's interesting. Well, so that means that it meant that it was a big enough city to carry, like, to pay for, let's say, 10 Koil guys, or I guess it
for sure it had to have been like that.
It
Yeah.
means something to that effect. I mean, it's more of a sign that this is an ernste Stut, that this is like a big enough city. Like a little shtetl wouldn't have this.
Right, so I think it's very important for people who like in agriculture and those types of businesses, because they lived more spread out. They had land and they didn't have like automobile travel like we have today. So like if you have like a bunch of acres of farmland, Lamashal, so then it's like very far to get to the next person. Like if your horse is in the shop or something.
Didn't have either of those sales.
Right. So the krach she'ein b'yasar batlon nidin kikvar. Michael Mashmalon. So what is this coming to teach us? Tanina. Eza hi gedoyla kol sheyesh b'asar batlanim. So what's the limit? What's coming to teach us? That what's considered a big city? When we say a big city is any place that they have these 10 batlanim that they pay to be always available so that we know that you have a million. Pachas mikan harizah kvar. If it was less than, if they didn't have these 10 batlanim, then they're basically a village. Krach, so the Gemara says, Krach isrichle. Afal gam de mikloy le me'alma.
So, because with the question, what's the chiddush? We already know this. Tanina, izi gedoy le kol sheish b'asar batlanim. And it was a question. Like we said that Klach she'ein b'asar batlanim in Kikvar, Ma'ik Mashmalon. Tanina, we already learned. Izi gedoy zeh. So the Gemara has to give an answer now. What's the chiddush?
Right, I think also this meaning requires dafka about Megillah. Like that's I think that's specifically what we're teaching, right? So what's Rabbi Shua Levi teaching us? Tanina, Hari Questioninu. Right, we already learned this from the Mishnah Ezehir Gedoyla. So Rabbi Shua and Levi needed this.
Oh, just to explain the Mishnah of like what the Mishnah means when what's a big city and what's a small city.
Yeah, so for Krach you needed it because Krach had a lot of people. The Krach was the place where people came and they...
That's where they read.
Right, there were always people there. They had many factories and stuff, but they had like there was like always people there, but they weren't. You couldn't rely on those people being there a specific time. And yes, there always were people there, but you couldn't rely on them being there. That's why I understood it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a lot of people. There's always like a bunch of people there, and the people that are there. They're there to daven. They're there for the bezdin, like that. That's what they're doing there. Because then they're not working over there. They work where they live. Another Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Krach shecharav ulebsayf yashav nidan k'krach. A city that was destroyed and then settled is considered a krach.
Now, does this mean that there was a krach, was a city, and now when it's settled, there's not 10 people there?
No, it's not. It's not. It's talking about it was destroyed and then it was rebuilt. Whatever. That's what the Gemara is going to talk about. Now, my charav. What does it mean, the charav? If you're going to tell me that the walls were destroyed, yashav ein lo yashav lai. So, if it was returned to its status, like they rebuilt the wall.
But the wall for Megillah doesn't matter really, because it all goes by Shulchan, right?
Right. So if we say charav, if you're going to say that the city had the wall in the time of Yeshua ben Nun, because now we're talking about the.
So the only wall would be Yeshua ben Nun wall, yeah. And
afterwards, the walls were destroyed.
So you were saying that wouldn't make a difference for Megillah.
For Megillah, I don't think this makes a difference even.
No, but we're saying because the Yeshua ben Nun wall, that's what's coming up now. It doesn't have to have the wall now, Right? It had it previously from the Shibunun, yeah.
Sheyoshav Ein. So daf. Now I have to restart the whole thing.
So Pashas it's a kasha, right? Rishuba Levi says krach shechar b'sof Yoshav didn't krach my chor ilay mechor kavasiv. Then it's Yoshav en lo Yoshav loy. It's only if the walls were rebuilt, but it's not true. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yossi says Ashaloi chayma. It had a wall, even if it doesn't have a wall now. So it can't be that Yoshav means that the wall was rebuilt. Right? And that Charav means that the wall was destroyed.
Right. So what does Charav mean when we say that it was Charav? Shecharav Mesar Baklon.
That's
Right, so
That's
That they
what I
had, that's the destruction of the city is that they don't have a
they
koil.
closed the
That's
koil,
literally- that's
they
what I
closed the
said.
koil,
That's
and
what
then
I asked.
Pashas they reopened it.
And then
now
and then,
that's the char.
they
Because
reopened, but-
if it had 10 people and it was destroyed and there's 10 people again, we don't need this. That means nothing really.
right. So that's what the question in the Gemara is. Well, what does it mean? What's he coming to teach us? What's this? Because we already have a Mishnah to tell us this. Elamai shechara, elamai charav, shechara mesar baklon. We have time for one more Rabbi Shulman Levi? Yeah, I guess.
Sure.
Vam Rabbi Shulman Levi. Lloyd. I think it's pronounced Lloyd. Not, not like
Today's
with the airport. Yeah, I don't know if it's
the airport.
Lod. Yeah, but Lod. It's probably Lod, anyways. So Lloyd the Oinum. Rabbi Shulman Levi. Lloyd, name of the city. Oinum. Oinoi. The Geach HaOshim, right? That's the valley of the deaf people. Is that what that means? But I don't know. That was the name of the city. The Geach HaOshim.
Yeah, get load on
Russian life from Russian plow. No.
Oh, from plowed. Right. The plowed.
Yeah,
the plowed. Guy is a valley.
Usually a valley.
Valley. Right.
The guy Ben Hinnom is next to Shalom.
Mukavas Chaim and Mois. Mukafes Chaim and Mois Yeshua ben Nun Havu. Right, so these three cities were surrounded by a wall in the times of Yeshua ben Nun. Track the Gemara Vahani Yeshua ben Nunhi. But you're going to tell me that Yeshua ben Nun that Yeshua ben Nun built them? That's the question that Yeshua ben Nun. V'hal Paul ben Nunhi. We know that Al-Pal, who was, if you know, was after Yeshua ben Nun. Dichsev, Bonei Al-Pal, Ever Masham, V'Shemer, who, Bona es Ainu Vesloid, Ubenasam. Right?
So they built Aina and Lloyd and not Yeshua. That's the question. Interesting.
Otamech, and according to your svara, now the Gemara is asking on the question. Asa benanhi, Asa built it, which was somebody else after, I think. Dichsev, vayiven Asas areh habtzurois ashal Yehuda. Amar Rabbi Lazar, Ani mukavas Chaim Mois Yeshua ben Nun Havu. These cities were built in the time of Yeshua ben Nun. Charuv v'mei Pelagish v'giva. They were destroyed in the times of the Pelagish v'giva. The Asa Al-Pal ben Nanhi Hadar Impol. Asa Shabtzinu. And then Al-Pal came and rebuilt them. They were Hadar Impol, then they were thrown down again. Asa Shiptzinu.
And he, as they call it today, it's a show everybody's making
Shiputzin, yeah.
Renovations.
So he came and did Shiputzin.
So it was built by Shuman and it was destroyed by the story Pelagish Begiva. And then he, what's his name? Alafil redid it, built them back.
Then Al-Pal rebuilt them.
And Asa made the renovations after that.
No, but Asa Al-Pal and Al-Pal came Benanhi and they Hadar Impol. Asa.
Oh, so they fell again, and Asa came and redid it.
Right. Then Asa came and fixed it up. It doesn't say that
Does it say he rebuilt it? It says he fixed
So
it.
they fixed it up. Which is
I guess
interesting.
it fell only partially.
Right,
It
I
was
guess-
still, it wasn't a complete gut job.
And then the question is, what does fallen mean?
Daika nami d'chsev. So we also learned there from the Pasuk. Vayom Yehuda nivnes arma eila. Right, Vayom Yehuda, he said to Yehuda, let's build these cities. Mechlal the Arim havu meikara. Because he said, let's build these cities.
Right.
These cities were here already.
Right, if it's a brand new city, you wouldn't say, let's rebuild the cities. You're building, yeah. Right.
Shema mino.
Right. So